Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday, which is a good day for a fresh start and a healthy, happy week ahead. So what I'm going to talk about today is, I did a little poll on my Facebook page. If you're not following me on my Facebook page, it's just Joe's Healthy Cupboard. What I was asking on there was, what are the main challenges you found or think you'll find when switching to a plant-based diet? Vegetarian or vegan. Plant-based could also include people who maybe still eat a bit of meat, but the most of the time or the most of their diet is comprised of plant-based foods. One person had commented saying that they had experienced quite a lot of negativity towards their switch towards a vegetarian/vegan diet. So what I thought I would talk about this morning is just how I've dealt with that, and hopefully some of that might be helpful for you. And I think that just before I even start, that you definitely experience more of that at the beginning of your transition journey, whatever you want to call it. And I think the reason for that is because you notice it more, you pick up on it more, you maybe try harder to convince people that you're doing the right thing. It's fresh to you and it affects you more. So just know that although you may experience negativity, it's likely to get easier the longer you have been eating a plant-based diet, because you will become more confident and you will be less affected by people's comments. You coming over? You coming over? The ways that I've dealt with it, and that's always evolving, and you're always going to get, I wouldn't even sometimes say it's negativity. I think people are curious, and sometimes it can come across the wrong way. Sometimes we can take it the wrong way. Sometimes we can be more defensive, or we can be a little bit more sensitive than at other times. I would say recently I've been more sensitive because I've been weaning Ivy on a plant-based diet. When it comes to your children as well, you're just hypersensitive to what you're doing. Come on then. You're already trying to, figure it all out and be super cautious about ensuring that you're probably doing everything you can to make sure that you're doing the right thing by your child. And when someone questions that, it can be quite, not threatening, but it can just really knock your self-confidence a bit, and then that can sometimes cause us to be a bit more defensive. The real things that I would say is, number one, never try and convince anyone that they should do something a certain way. People will come to things as and when they see fit, or trying to convince people, I think, can just be so much of a waste of your energy, especially if those people don't want to change, or they're not ready for it, or they're not open to it. I don't think I've ever felt the need or tried to convince somebody else that, unless they were open to it and they were asking me and they wanted to know, as in unsolicited me trying to convince people. Ivy. I just don't try and convince people. I do my thing. I try and lead by example. I try and share tasty food. That's another one of my tips. I'll go on to that. So number two is, have some really great banging, really good recipes or treats that you can maybe bring along at Christmas time. I think this is specifically relevant at the moment because you maybe throughout the year switch to a plant-based diet, and at Christmas it's the first time you've been around family or people that you know better, who are more likely to have that kind of direct questioning approach. Make sure you've got some recipes up your sleeve, or make some treats, take them along. I've got a whole pile of recipes you could share, or you can find on my blog or on here. I think that's it. It's just showing people that it's tasty, it's exciting, it's an evolving area, the food's awesome, you don't have boring vegan or vegetarian diets. You don't even have to make a deal when you're make any big deal about it or anything. Just take along nice food, or if someone's cooking at Christmas lunch, offer to take some sides along, and I'm sure everyone will love them and be asking you lots of questions in a positive way. So that's number two. Number one is, don't try and convince anyone. Well, that's my personal preference. Number two is, learn some tasty recipes that you can share with people over the Christmas period. Number three is, educate yourself. The more educated you can be about your own choices, whether they're ethical, whether they're health, whether they're environmental, whether they're all three, whether there's other things, make sure that you know and you're clear and you're confident. For me personally, in every walk of life, my confidence and the level to which I'm affected by other people's comments is by my own knowledge. So if I'm very knowledgeable about something and I know with certainty that I am doing the right thing, I'm not threatened by what anyone says. I'm just calm. I feel like anyone can ask me anything. I'm always going to have an answer or have someone I can refer them to. Yeah, educate yourself as best you can. There's so much information out there. Just make sure it's from reliable sources. I would say that some of the kind of vegan plant-based documentaries are a little bit extreme and one-sided, so for some people, if you refer them to watch one of these documentaries, then they might think, well, that's a bit extreme or it's a bit one-sided. Coming from a journalistic background, that is all I'm saying. I think some of them are a little bit one-sided and have an agenda. So I like to find like more objective information, scientific or medical studies, that kind of thing. Let me just check my notes. What else did I say? Be educated and have rational responses for people. Not that you owe anyone anything, but if you want to feel confident, then I think that's a good thing to do. I would say, what's the next thing? I've said that one. Always redirect people to more authoritative sources. Don't try and like give people facts and statistics and information that you're just, maybe you've heard it somewhere, you're not sure. I always like to refer people to people who are maybe more authoritative than me. I follow a lot of medical people on Instagram and I read a lot of online resources so that I've always got that up in my awareness, that if someone questions me like, where do you get your protein, where do you get your iron, where do you get this, where do you get that, which we all know if we are eating a plant-based diet is all available easily and more digestible than the animal-based sources in many situations. But I think that people sometimes, if you don't have like a medical or health background, then they might think that you're just theorizing, whereas there is information out there that is available for anyone to read. So yeah, authoritative sources. I like to find kind of balanced information. What's the last thing, Ivy? What's the last thing? Be the example. Just be the example. Be that example of like a healthy, plant-based human who's kind and compassionate. And I think when people see the change in you in a positive way, maybe you're like, health's better, you've got more energy, your skin's better. Unfortunately, I think physical appearance is probably other people's biggest indicator of how healthy you are, but also your energy and your positivity. Ivy Rose. I think everyone's different, but sometimes when we start something, we're very, very, very passionate, and I'm very passionate about my lifestyle and what I do and how I live my life, but I don't try and convince people, and maybe I did when I first switched my diet. Only if people are open to it do I really talk about it, and I don't really raise it as a subject. That is it for today. That is your alternative vlogmas, and I think this is relevant just because at Christmas time it can be a time where you're around people you haven't seen for a long time. There's obviously a lot of food. Maybe you're saying, oh, can I have a vegetarian option or vegan option, or you're cooking that for other people. Be mindful that everyone's coming from a different place. Love everyone where they are. Respond in a way that you are proud of, and that is it. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I hope that was helpful. Have a fantastic week. Or have a fantastic Monday, because I'm sure I'll be on here again before then, before the end of the week.